Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. We've got 3 brand new decks for you, as always. And hey, this weekend, Magneto was the surprise weekend mission card, so we've got some Magneto decks for you, too, in case you're wondering how to get those weekend missions done. My son is in the room, so if you get any background noise, just say, "Hi, Noah," to your monitor. Before we begin, though, I'd like to say welcome to the stream team, where you can find gameplay every single weekday and also Saturdays from the decks from the week's videos. We do 3 decks every day, and they are covered by the following amazing streamers, which means this morning on Father Newman's YouTube, you can find yesterday's stream with all the week's decks, and tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, Gregor will be streaming a whole bunch of today and tomorrow's decks. So if you're interested, please check that out. Now, our first deck is the one from the thumbnail, not going to make you wait. This is Safety Blade's Slayer Blade. It is a top 100 deck. It has climbed more than 400 ranks to get to the top 100. It's extremely powerful and extremely resilient. It is a deck fundamentally built around combining a lot of different combinations of powerful things, where Ravonna gives you a powerful Professor X, Sage, and Wolfsbane, and all of those are so far ahead of rate that you should be able to steal a lane based on power or lockdown, which means Cannonball should win another lane. The only problem you ever really end up having is nonsense like Enchantress or Tribunal here. Nonsense like Iron Man or Tribunal here, and Enchantress is able to take those out. Now, you can find Safety at twitch.tv/safetyblade. White Widow, Sage, and Nocturne are all replaceable. There are a ton of replacements. You got Havoc, Nebula, Sunspot, Morph, Green Goblin, and Daredevil. I'm partial to Havoc and Green Goblin as my replacements here, but do what you want. You need Kitty, Ravonna, Cannonball, and Hope. You can try without Hope, but the deck feels really, really clunky without it. You definitely need Ravonna, Kitty, and Cannonball. It's built for those cards. Jeff can be Nightcrawler here, but ouch, because you have Professor X. And Jeff has his one specific synergy with Professor X that makes him significantly better for this deck, or this type of deck in particular. All right, so this is, again, lots of people who follow Safety. Safety's community has been rocking out, stealing cubes with this left and right. If you have these cards, join the company, because this is a stellar deck. Turn 1, you want a Kitty. Turn 2, Ravonna is your priority. Ravonna is what makes this deck go round. Then Angela. Also, Ravonna will make Angela cost 1, which is silly. Then Angela, Jeff, and then Jeff is more or less equal to White Widow, depending on what the board looks like. I like to save Jeff a little later for Professor X or to put on Angela. Turn 3, Ravonna or Angela, +1. If you didn't play Ravonna on 2 for whatever reason, you top decked Angela, you can go Angela in a 1, you can go Ravonna in a 1 there. You can also drop Hope depending on the board. I generally prefer getting Ravonna out to getting Hope out, and that's better than anything else you can do there. Nocturne's perfectly fine. Turn 4, if you can, Professor X, Professor X. If not, you're looking back at turn 3. Turn 5, Professor X, or you're just sort of setting up a bunch of stuff for big energy. Feel free to drop that Sage if you can sort of lock up a lane with it, because if you can lock up a lane with it, Cannonball's usually going to win you another lane. Cannonball or Sage and Wolfsbane is the end of the game, but you can also Sage, Wolfsbane, and more if you have Ravonna out. A last turn of Sage being a 10, Wolfsbane being a 7. If you're doing this on Angela, and both of those cost 2, you can still drop a Jeff into a Professor X lane. You can drop them on some Angela. You can still drop your Kitty. So there's a lot to like here. This deck, again, puts out a crazy amount of power, while not foregoing a decent amount of control between Enchantress and Professor X and White Widow. So I think you should try this deck out if you have the ability. Please hit that sub button. We bring you 7 days a week of video here on this channel. If you're already subbed, like, comment, watch as long as you can. It really helps us out. We appreciate any and all help in supporting what we do here. Our next deck is W. W is the best deck builder in Marvel Snap history. If you want to hear more from W, he was on the podcast we released yesterday. We had the best deck builder, W, and the best player, Lambie, both on the podcast at the same time, ranking every card. In it, you can hear the genesis of this deck. As we talked about cards, he was like, Invisible Woman and Killmonger is probably really good. Well, then W went and made the deck and climbed like 100 ranks with it in an hour, which is just a huge, huge, huge win rate on cube rate for a single hour. This is a very powerful deck. Sarah Control is back. We're seeing less Mobius, and anytime we're starting to see less Mobius, Sarah Control can and should come back. This is very powerful and very consistent. Fundamentally, what you're doing is you're just sort of playing a power control game, and then you've got Invisible Woman to ensure your priority goes off at the end, and you're able to do whatever nonsense you'd like. Shadow King, Maximus, Killmonger, and of course, Shang-Chi all go excellently behind that Invisible Woman. You can find W at twitter.com/W underscore Marvel Snap. W will motorcycle passes. W will one day get back to streaming, I'm sure, but for the time being, check him out on Twitter where he posts amazing decks. Jeff can be Medusa as far as replacements go. Red Guardian can be Rogue or Enchantress. You want an extra bit of control here. Red Guardian is your answer to ongoings, really, so you want another ongoing answer. If not, Ms. Marvel can be Omega Red. That's worse in some cases, but tends to be better behind Invisible Woman. Opponents will often just avoid that lane or drop like a Cosmo there and think they've won. Gladiator can be Nocturne or Polaris. I think Nocturnes may even be better than Gladiator here, to be perfectly honest. Polaris is also stellar. I think you kind of need Mobius to win decks. Like other decks that make things cheaper will beat you if you don't have Mobius, so I kind of think you need Mobius. That could also be Rogue, I guess, but I think you need Mobius. Cool. All right, so 100 ranks into the top 250. So turn 1 pass, turn 2 Invisible over Jeff. Turn 3 Mobius Gladiator, and you can drop Killmonger behind that Invisible Woman, or you can drop Maximus behind that Invisible Woman. Jeff is perfectly fine on turn 3 if necessary, and Red Guardian on a priority target. And it says Killmonger behind Jeff. That means behind Invisible, sorry. Red Guardian can hit a priority target. We're talking an Angela, we're talking a Bishop, something like that. Also, like, hey, I don't know what experiences you're having, but like a lot of people keep snapping me when they Red Guardian. I'm playing Bounce, right? I play a lot of Bounce, as longtime viewers know. People keep snapping me when they Red Guardian my Bishop or my whatchamacallit, Angela. Don't do that. You're not far enough ahead by taking away one of my powerful cards. Those aren't my key win conditions. If you have that and then Leech, we can start to talk. All right, Ms. Marvel or Shang behind that Invisible Woman. Ms. Marvel is just a ton of power. You don't have to have everything all over the place. Jeff gives you the ability to get there later. Turn 5, you'd like to Sarah. If not, a 3 plus a 2 is fine. Think a Gladiator and a Jeff here. And last turn, Shang, Maximus, and stuff. And if you need to, you can always just drop Doom and go wide and win that way. This deck is awesome. People don't play around Doom. It steals cubes. You should genuinely try this. I think you will have a lot of success. This is especially hilarious against the bounce meta because Killmonger and Shadow King smack the crap out of bounce. All right, so Magneto was the surprise weekend mission card. It was supposed to be Blink. They told us it would be Blink for the first 2 weeks. They were either lying or wrong. I think they might have just forgotten what they programmed in. So here's a few decks that you can play with Magneto for weekend missions. All right, so first we have Ika's Blink Abuse deck. This is the deck that I have like an 80% win rate, 78% win rate, something stupid like that. This deck is wildly good. It KM covered it right around the same time I was rolling with it, so now it's everywhere. It's one of the most played decks in the game, but it's one of the most played decks in the game for a reason. If you have access to these cards, or most of these cards, you'll be fine with it. Blink is the only high series card here you absolutely need. Everything else is fully replaceable as a high series card, so feel free to like tinker around in the same cost slots with different cards, and you'll really enjoy this. I also covered it Thursday if you want the full guide. The next way to play Magneto is obviously Hela. In a Leech meta, Hela is dangerous, right? But if you're not seeing too much Leech, and I'm not seeing as much Leech as I was earlier in the week, then Blink is a great way to go. This Hela deck is a great way to go. If you don't have Blink, feel free to make this Vision. I'm not even 1,000% sure this deck isn't even just better with Vision in that spot because of Sandman. So feel free to give this deck a try. I think you'll really enjoy it. Dubos is stellar and built this one. Next up, we have a Thanos list. I don't know who made this Thanos list, but it still keeps winning. Oh, wait, no, I guess I do. I'm an idiot. Excuse me. This is FAK Crazy's Thanos list. Although it's a card or two off, we're just mix and matching among the same cards for Thanos at this point. This Thanos list still has like a 60% win rate in several hundred games on Marvel Snap Zone. It's 1,000% worth playing. The meta is not built to answer this kind of Thanos list. You'll occasionally draw dud, but if you can handle just running when you draw dud, when you don't draw crap, you are one of the most powerful things in the game, and Magneto goes in this list, and this is often free wins. Cool. Those are my 3 Magneto lists. Now we're on to Riku 97's Sage Evo. So this is really kind of ridiculous because it's doing Pixie and Hope in order to sort of get nonsense off. So if you see Pixie, you've got like a great way to win because like one cheap Red Hulk, She-Hulk, Hulk with Sage is just an absolute shit ton of power. But like you can also just Hope and do like Hope, Cyclops, pass, Hulk, She-Hulk, and just go to town, right? And if you do both Pixie and Hope and you can get that off with Sage, you just stole a million cubes. It's really cool. All right, you can find Twitter.com, Alphaba Bycrack is how you find Riku. So turn Alpha Bycrack, whatever. Hope can be magic. You don't lose too much for that. Hope is better, but magic is perfectly fine. Pixie and Mobius can also be magic, but you're going to need either Hope or Pixie for this list. You want to be able to do the magic route or the Pixie route, not one over the other. Nebula could be Shocker. You don't actually need Nebula for this. Sage can be Wolfsbane. That is a huge loss. This deck is specifically built for Sage being like 10 power and being able to like steal you a lane as your opponent is like, I think I can outpower you. No, you cannot. Red Hulk can be Infinite. Again, you lose a bit, but not a ton. And Mobius can be a rogue. All right, so this is not dominating pre-infinite. This is dominating in infinite. I just didn't change my subtitle. My bad. Turn 1, Nebula over Sunspot is more or less equal to Misty. Turn 2, Pixie. And once you've played Pixie, a lot of the turn order stuff blows up. Sorry. And if you don't have Pixie, you just drop one of the other ones. Turn 3, Hope or Mobius. If you have Mobius, Hope, sorry. If you played Pixie, Mobius is your priority. If not, Hope is perfectly fine. Those are better than Cyclops as a general rule. Turn 4, you'd like to Cyclops on that Hope. If you just drew Hope, you can drop Hope and even potentially play a 1-drop on it. Turn 5, pass if you did the Hope play on 4 and you have She-Hulk. If not, you can just play. If you didn't have Hope and you did spend like turn 4 on Cyclops, you should have 5 energy She-Hulk. Play that. Or you can pass as well if you just have She-Hulk and Sage. Because She-Hulk and Sage will be a lot of power for Sunspot / Misty, right? It'll make your She-Hulk cost 1, your Sage cost 2, and then you could still either play a 1 and you're getting that Cyclops trigger and all that's pretty great. Now, turn 6, you just go off Sage and She-Hulk is often kind of wild, even if you don't get the other crazier combos with your Red Hulk and take one look at this. I think you'll really like this deck. I hope you give it a try if you have access to these cards and or if you are willing to try out the replacements. This is quite cool and quite strong. I played this a little bit and really, really liked it. It's not exactly my style. If there's a good bounce deck, it's really hard for me to not just play good bounce deck, but this is still a very, very powerful deck that straight up rolls the face off a lot of things. Also, this deck outside of Sage gives no craps about Leech. If you're worried about that Leech meta, you go straight over the top of that Leech meta all the freaking time with this list. All right, question of the day, and then we out of here. So our question of the day, Anthony Garces asked why I call Lamby the greatest of all time. All right, so Lamby, when... Thank you, Noah. Alexa has a notification, but Alexa's going to have to wait because we're finishing up this video. Anthony Garces, that's why I call Lamby the GOAT. So Lamby, back before there was an infinite leaderboard and everyone was playing Conquest, Lamby got 10 million infinite borders. Then there were several major tournaments he's won. I believe he still won the most of the major tournaments in Marvel Snap. Then he tried to be number 1 on infinite leaderboard exactly once and hit number 1 on the infinite leaderboard. Noah, please stop that. So I think that makes him the greatest of all time. I don't think he's the greatest right now. He's sort of half in and half out on Snap. He plays other things as well. He's still a genius about the game, but he doesn't spend as much time playing. I think, Geo's playing less too. I guess Crazy's probably the best right now. I think Geo ended up being better than Lamby as Lamby was winding down and Geo was ramping up. And now I think that Geo is winding down. I think FAK Crazy is probably who I'd say is the best in the world, but it's nowhere near as certain as it was earlier. Because while Crazy has the latter success, he does not have the tournament dominance that Lamby and Geo have. So tournament dominance plus ladder dominance is basically what my criteria here is. White Cloud wonders about Leech, wonders about Sage versus Sasquatch for bounce in particular, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think the Sasquatch deck is a bounce deck. I keep hearing it's a bounce deck, but I think that's wrong. I think that the Sasquatch deck is very, very, very likely to be a Mockingbird deck, sort of one of those Mockingbird junkie decks that we were seeing all over the place at the end of last season. I know Butt played quite a few versions of that. I think that's going to be the Sasquatch deck. I think Sage is going to end up being better for bounce. I don't expect Leech to change soon. I do think Sage is still concerning because of that. We're going to talk a lot more about Sage tomorrow. I've been gathering Sage stats, and let me tell you, they did it's really, really complicated whether I think you should get Sage or not, because I don't know if I know the answer yet, and I got to make that video tomorrow, so yeesh. All right. Rick C wonders if Rivals will hurt Marvel Snap. Yep, think so. And not for like it's pulling away players. I think it's pulling away content creators, which doesn't necessarily hurt the player base, but hurts the engagement of the player base. I know a lot of content creators. I'm in like several rivals discords. I'm not going to play rivals, but I'm in like a rivals discord, and I see all the rivals chats and the various other discords I'm in. I think that rivals is a real thing that a lot of the Snap content creators are going to run off to, and I think that's generally speaking going to hurt Marvel Snap. Is it going to kill the game? No. Hurt it? Yeah, a bit. Lobby Blobberden wants to know how SD will rework Zabu. Um, Honest to God, I think they just put it back as a 2-1. I don't think they really do anything else. I think it becomes a 2-1 with its old ability. I think they just realized they made a mistake. I wouldn't be shocked if they tried it as a 3-2 or a 3-3, and I think it doesn't work as a 3. So I think they end up making it like a 2-1. And then they just call it a day, having received the data they want. I think Zabu is an important part of the game, and they, honest to God, think the game is missing something without Zabu. If you'd like your questions read out in tomorrow's video, please leave one in the comments, or feel free to check the Snap Judgments League Discord, where we have a specific section for questions for me. So if you'd like those, check it out. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/snapjudgments, where we do all sorts of exclusive. As soon as I'm done with this video, I will be doing an exclusive video going over the top 10 decks of last week from my videos. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, check out the Patreon. That's on the $10 tier, but we have early access and other things for $5, and even release some cool stuff for the $1 besides the always cool Snap Judgments League. We've got to say thank you to Abigail Giesler, Mandatory Burnout, Cables, David G. Wingfield, Direwolf, LAB, always kind, Thor Newman. Check him out on YouTube and check out his video on my decks this week. Good Dog Gamer, This Is the Way, all the way from Scotland. Ink, Jane Everett, JD McDonaldino, who I ruined Snap for earlier this week. Sorry, JD. Kier Lee, the King of Questions. Koi Ray from Japan. Pyrophoros, the Goat Seeker, Denman Falcon. Doku, Ginger Prime, enjoy your vacation. Philip Rakovich, climbing higher and higher on the leaderboard. Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone. The OG Rob Silverman. The Bizza, not the Jizza, the Bizza. OG X-Force V and Skippy G. Tommy Nyquist, Snap Judgments League 1 season champion. King of Bros, bro. Black Dahlia. The Great Kazoo. Jessica Campbell. Ryan Wood. Kev C. Hoda. I need an update on where Kev's ranked right now. Luna Chris. My former student, Louis Antonez, Mod Supreme Models, Rema Setala, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Fuzzy, Dunlop, one and only, Spectrumix, Hoot, Matt H., DJ Mikey Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Ocularis, Craig Sterry, hey Craig, Pretty Damn Chill, hi Seamus, hope you're doing well. Seamus will watch this like 4 days later and be like, hi. Spike Jones, Jonesy, Two Ties, whose deck got made infinite, The Pirate King Tucker, The Homie Min, and of course Gunny T, who the T stands for. I got to figure out what my recommendation is for Sage. I got to record a short about that new bundle, so if you're interested in that, check it out. I also have to do those top 10 decks Patreon exclusive. So I'll see you tomorrow for another Snap Take, as we do every day. Hope you're having a great weekend. Peace.